So good evening, my name is Troy Norcross. I'm CEO of Open Goods, and I've been doing that for only about 3 or 4 months. So before that, I have a history as a software developer. I used to write flight simulators for military aircraft back in the US. I then spent a number of years in telecoms, both in infrastructure and also working for the device manufacturer Nokia. We talk about the rise and the fall of a great brand. And now I'm working with a number of startups, as well as working in the startup where I'm currently CEO, which is Open Goods, which is a blockchain-based cryptocurrency company. You know, blockchain, very, very popular and very growing within fintech. So one of the famous quotes from Amaras Law is that we typically take tech and predict too much to happen in the short term and too little to happen in the long term. So rather than trying to have really, really big predictions as to what's going to happen in 2018, I wanted to kind of bring it right back and make it really simple and really practical. Take about things that we kind of know and we're already seeing that are happening today, and look at what's really potentially going to happen in 2018 by seeing more of the same. So who knows about the letters GDPR? That's really good. General Data Protection Regulation. So GDPR is coming in from the EU. It's coming in May of 2018. So this is not a prediction as to what's going to happen. This is definitely going to happen. The prediction is what's it going to actually be as far as an impact across healthcare? What's it going to be for an impact across ad tech? What's it going to be an impact against fintech? Because once you have general data protection regulation that talks about consumer data, having the ability to control your data, getting the correct permissions to use my data, it changes the game. It changes the financial game across the board. Now what I say here is the control is an illusion. And that's really what the EU kind of needs to understand, because the EU is trying to control data. They're trying to give consumers the control of their data. The capitalists, the businesses want control of the data. And at the end of the day, data is free. It's going to be a little bit of everywhere. And we need to be really clear as to what is our data, what is their data, where is the data, and how the data will flow. And trying to control the data will block the flow. So I think in 2018 we're going to see more openness of data, we're going to see better value exchanges of data, and we're going to find out that this is the right way to move forward. Everyone using data for the best interests. And moving straight on from that, artificial intelligence, which we heard about earlier, learning before doing. So AI needs data. It needs massive amounts of data in order to learn, to decide, to be able to make its own decisions. And what we're going to have to do is make sure that we feed artificial intelligence the right data. There's a story that I've heard a few times, and I haven't got the exact source that I can quote, where they were doing facial recognition, and they identified certain black people as being apes, because they actually didn't feed in enough data into the algorithm that it could actually differentiate between these two. So it's a really extreme case, but I think it can actually be applied in the same way. And in healthcare, absolutely. Using artificial intelligence to solve a lot of our diagnostic problems is absolutely great if we feed it enough data and enough of the right data. So we must have control of the data, we must be willing to share the data and see the bigger purpose of it. And artificial intelligence 2018, not so much doing, still learning. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's fraud detection, whether it's cybersecurity detection, I believe artificial intelligence in 2018 will continue to get better, but will not really start doing much in 2018. Cryptocurrency. Okay, who knows what's the big event that happened with Bitcoin today? Right. Bitcoin crossed 10,000 US dollars for a single Bitcoin today. It was a major event for anybody who's paying attention to what the Bitcoin price is. Major, major event. Now, what have I said here? Merchant acceptance. If you get enough consumers that have Bitcoin and are looking for a place to spend it, not just investors, not just speculators, but people who are actually looking to spend their Bitcoin, suddenly merchants are going to start accepting Bitcoin. Today, Microsoft, eBay, and Expedia all accept Bitcoin today. Today in Australia, 1,300 small grocery stores accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. Once you have a big enough swell of availability of the cryptocurrency, then you're going to start having more and more merchants start accepting it, and the flow of the cryptocurrency machine will really start to take hold. By the way, this terrifies governments, terrifies governments because governments have no control over cryptocurrency. A small sidebar, I got really frustrated earlier this evening. It was like 5:30 in the evening. My investor was stranded at her hotel. Her credit card wouldn't work. And so we were like, okay, we're going to phone the company and we're going to tell them, here's our credit card, we'll pay for it. She's our investor, of course, let her get into her room. And they wouldn't take a credit card over the phone because they couldn't verify the transaction. And we said, well, we'll do a BACS transfer. It's instant. The money will be there immediately. Yeah, but I'm the front desk clerk. I can't go and look and see that the money actually hit the bank. And suddenly the payment system had fallen down. It wasn't actually working. With Bitcoin, payments are virtually instant. We could actually do and send Bitcoin immediately. The hotel could see it immediately in a safe and a secure way, and they could actually move it forward. And I see more and more of those benefits of fast transaction times, fast settlement times, low costs, driving more merchants to accept Bitcoin in 2018. Now, blockchain is the underlying technology underneath all of these cryptocurrencies. So underneath Bitcoin is its own blockchain. Underneath Ether is its own blockchain called Ethereum. IBM has their own blockchain called Hyperledger. So all of these things are individual blockchains, and they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. And I say there's going to be a lot of discovery and there's going to be a lot of out and out abject failure. Whether it's having a smart contract that had a bug in it that cost somebody $120 million, gone. In fiat equivalent, gone, because they put a wrong piece of code into an Ethereum smart contract. Or whether we're looking at new consensus algorithms that moves us from where we are now, between 3 and 7 transactions per second for Bitcoin, to more than 20,000 transactions per second. Visa has a top of 25,000 transactions per second. It's getting close enough that we could actually put Visa clearance onto a blockchain using a new consensus algorithm. So blockchain is not going to eat the world in 2018, but we're going to have a whole lot more discovery, a whole lot more evolution, and a whole lot more failure, which is all about learning and moving things forward. I do believe that blockchain underneath it all is in 1998 terms where the internet was, is where blockchain is today. I'm also part of a group called Aging 2.0. It's a worldwide organization. There's a UK entity based over the Innovation Warehouse just down the road at Smithfield's Market. I don't know if you can see Granny here, but Granny's about 75 and she's going skydiving. The people and the needs of people who are aging are changing. It's not just finding loneliness, which is a huge issue. We've got to deal with the isolation issue. But also people are living better, they're living longer, they're living healthier. They need solutions in finance. How do I make my pension last a hell of a lot longer than it used to? How do I use things in such a way that I get more and more of my bucket list ticked off every single time? How do I get people to stop treating me like some kind of a senior citizen and realize that I've got the body of a 40-year-old, I've got the mind of an 18-year-old, and I really want to get out there and go and do things. And I think in 2018, we have a real opportunity to see new ideas, new interests, new solutions, specifically around the aging, and the aging solutions that can come in 2018 are really exciting. Which leads me to my last and probably most controversial prediction for 2018. Hipsters are going to get rid of Topknots. I know it's a big thing to say in a high-tech audience, but I really believe in 2018, hipsters are going to get rid of Topknots. So my name is Troy Norcross. I'm with Open Goods, and thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Troy. So just